So today we're going to solve the 3.2.2 lesson on how to solve polynomials. So let's get straight into it. So we have an equation 3x to the fourth plus 3x to the third equals 6x to the second plus 6x. All we have to do is multiply this by this and we'll get the answer. But first we need to move 6x squared plus 6x to the left side. So it will become 3x to the fourth plus 3x to the third minus 6x to the second and minus 6x equals 0. Now we're going to solve something called factor by grouping. It's kind of like the A times C method, but easier. We group these two together and we group these two together. And now it looks familiar because you can just solve for the greatest common factor. So now let's enter. Alright, so now we just solve for the greatest common factor. So on the right hand side we have 3x to the third and then x plus 1. If you multiply them out, it should become this equation. And then on the right hand side we do a subtract 6. Also x plus 1. Now we have common factors. So you know what happens with common factors. We have 3x to the third plus minus 6x. Yeah, make sure to check your arithmetic right there. Minus 6x actually. Minus 6x times x plus 1. Oops, x plus 1. Keyboarding controls are hard. And now it'll become more familiar than the quadratic equation. So we have x plus 1 equals to 0. And everybody knows how to solve that. We have x equals negative 1. Okay, now let's keep on solving this equation. So we have 3x to the third minus 6x equals 0. And now we'll keep on solving this. So this will become, pull out a greatest common factor again, which is 3x, and then we have x squared minus 2, x squared minus 2 equals 0. When 3x equals 0, that will just become 0. So the second equation is x equals 0. And finally, we have the last and final equation that we had to solve. This is complicated. Not really, but just a lot of work, but you must do it so that you can get a good grade. So then we just do plus 2 to each side. We have x squared equals 2, and x just equals plus and minus the square root of 2. So in all seriousness, this equation just equals, let me get my curly brackets here, make it official, negative 1, 0, square root of 2, and come on, and negatives, come on, get out of the thing. But you get it. It should just be plus and minus the square root of 2. That should be the answer. And that is the answer. Because, in fact, if we type this equation, let's just copy in this. Copy. Let's go to wolframalpha.com. Let's plug it in. Hopefully it'll recognize it. Yes, it recognizes it. Boom! Look, we have the answer. This is a very simple way to do this, but you gotta just, memorize the steps. And see, look, pretty neat. We have this answer, which is this answer, and yeah, pretty much. So, again, we're allowed to use a 4-function calculator, but other than that, no graphing calculator, that's cheating. And we don't like cheaters. Whoops, what the heck happened here? Let's move this up. Okay, let's solve this equation. Oh, look, 4 terms again. This is easy. All we have to do is, do the following. Let me just group this in this, and this, and this, and then we'll hit enter. Okay. Now we pull out a 25p squared on the left hand side as the greatest common factor, and then so we'll have p minus 1, and then we'll pull out a -1, I think. P minus 1. Yep, that's it. Okay, now look what we have here. Very, very easy. Now let's just group these two together. 25. What is wrong with my typing today? Anyways, and then we group these two together, and then P. Okay, I'm just gonna skip this equation. This should be it. So P will equal 1, and then next up we have something oddly familiar here. It should be in my last lesson, but let's just review it again. So, sum of difference of squares. We know that, let me just put it to the side right here. So, we know that this should equal a plus b times a minus b. So, a should be 25p squared, and b should be -1, but it should just be 1 because there's a minus right here. So, this just equals the square root of 25, which is 5p plus 1. Let me group them together. And 5p minus 1 equals 0. Now, all we have to do is do 5p plus 1 equals 0. And then 5p equals -1. My mouth is going way faster than my typing skills. Okay, and then we'll just do p equals -1. Wait, make it official here. 1/5. And then we solve for the other equation, which is just plus and minus 1/5, since the other equation just yields 1/5. So let me get my plus and minus some over here. That's the answer. So plus and minus 1/5, and p equals 1. Now let's check this to make sure that we are actually true. Now again, this I altered it, but it was just grouping. You saw me in the beginning. I just added parentheses, which doesn't really change the results. So let me just go to our friend here. Now don't use this just to do your homework. Actually do your homework. Don't use this to do your homework. And oh, maybe parentheses do matter. Hang on. Let me ungroup this too, because it's giving me a wonky result. Okay. Yep, there we go. So we have -1. I mean, +1, negative 1 over 5, and positive 1 over 5, 1, positive 1 over 5, and negative 1 over 5. Boom. Easy as that. Now, let's get out of that cubic habit, and let's solve some quintic equations. Yes, quintic equations. Let me just condense this. This should be up here. Yes. Now we have, yep, okay. We have this equation. Shoot, okay. We have this equation. Wait a second. Just formatting issues. Okay. Now we have this equation. We're going to solve this. Very easy. We'll just take out. Should we take out here? Let's see. Come on, type. Okay. We have. Let's take out 2x to the third. That should do it. Now we have x to the second minus 9. Yay! Very easy. This could just take you 10 seconds if I didn't have to type all this. 2x to the third equals, actually it equals 0 3 times because, well, it should just equal 0. But since 0 doesn't have any other roots, we'll just count it 3 times. You'll see at the end what I mean. And then we encounter this type of equation. X squared minus 9 equals 0. And then this is just the very simple sum of difference of cubes. Go away, Microsoft. Go away. We don't like you. Okay. Anyways, this is just equals to x plus 3. X plus 3. X minus 3 equals 0. Oh boy. Look what we have here. X just equals X equals, let me get my curly brackets here. That's the absolute value bar. No. Okay. So we have 3 minus 3, 0, 0, 0. Now that's why we have 3 zeros. Why I mean here? Because in the quintic equation, how many solutions do we have? I'm gonna make it big and bold. We have 5. Okay? So, if you don't include the 3 zeros, that's only 2 solutions, which is bad. Bad. So, here are the 5 solutions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, let's check just to make sure that we don't mess up. Let me just copy. Go up here. Again, don't use this as cheating. Just check. So far, we haven't used this yet, so let's not use it because, come on, Wolfram Alpha, you know what I mean. Let's not use that because that is, we don't like calculators. Look what we have. We have 3, 0, and 3. Now the reason why is it's condensed. Look what's going on here. We have 3, 3, 0. The reason why it counts 3 times. Look, we have a cubic pattern. This is just negative x over 3. See? We have go down here. Remember how to plot a cubic function. And this is the inflection point of a cubic function. Well, that means it counts as 3 times. Even though on the coordinate point, when you write as an x-intercept, you only write it 1 time. But it counts as 3 times. I don't know, it's weird. But it works out. Because that's what the math god said, like in 1592. Now let's solve our final equation, a 3-term equation. A little bit harder than the other 2s, but still solvable, of course. There are some equations that cannot be factored, which takes me like a billion years to solve, but I'll do that in another video. So, we have this right here. This is just like a quadratic equation, but except for this term is replicated. So you'll see what I mean. So what times itself to be 8 and plus itself to be -9? Well, let's think about it. So we have 4x to the 4th. Okay. Remember, when it plus itself, it should equal -9. Now we know that this -1 times -8 is, you guessed it, 8. But when you plus them together, let me just get my for function. So come on, whatever. Okay, you get the idea. So -8 plus -1 should equal -9, and when you multiply it, everybody knows it's just equal to 8. So we won't have to solve that using a for function. But just to make sure that I'm not going crazy or anything, this should look familiar. Now that we had this, it will become one of these equations again. So all we have to do is follow through, and we take 4x to the 2nd as the greatest common factor. So on the left hand side we'll have x squared. Oh look, we have the x squared thing again. And on the right hand side we'll have -2. Yeah, -2. And then plus, I think it's just -1. X squared minus 2. Wait. Okay. Check to make sure I didn't do this wrong. So, we take -1 out. This becomes x squared. -1 times -1 equals +2. So, we did this right. Now, we have 4 sum of difference of squares, which is a lot to say, but again, it's quartic. What do you expect? So, like that, x squared minus 2 equals 0. And let's just solve this like so. We all know I'm not gonna write it again because this is just equal to plus and minus, where is it? Plus and minus the square root of 2 as shown right here. Now we come back here and we take this 4x squared minus 1 equals 0. Now another sum of difference. So we do 2x plus 1 to 2x minus 1, and that should multiply out to 4x squared minus 1. And let's just solve for one of the equations so that we know the other one, not squared. Come on, linear equation. Okay. And then we just do x equals. I'm just gonna skip some steps because you should get it. It's just equal to plus and minus. Come on, give me that plus and minus. 1.5, and this right here, which is plus and minus the square root of 2. Again, let's always check. So we put this in, and then hopefully it doesn't give us a, oh come on, it got us a multiplying expression again. Use the carets. Now again, this is our answer, and oh my god, come on, Wolfram Alpha, you should get... Okay, what's going on here? Don't you understand this expression? Oh, I see now. Whoopsies. There we go. And we have plus and minus. Whoops. Plus and minus. Plus and minus 1/2. And the square root of -2. Look, we have here. And we have here. So we did everything correct. Make sure you know how to do these steps. And yeah, guys, that's it.